Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Women Who AI Summit. Kelley Tenney here, and I am here with Jenna Larson, the amazing CEO, founder, like brain behind Group Track Social, which is, if you haven't heard of Group Track, you're going to get a sneak peek on what it does, but it is magical. And it's been around for how many years, Jenna? How long has
3.
Okay. So 3 years, and I would like to say that I was one of the first that came
Yes.
to Group Track and got that first front row seat of what it was, and it has grown so much and completely evolved, and I'm just thrilled to have you here and just thrilled to have you as, like, part of that elite group of female leaders that are doing really amazing things, not only in the tech world, but now with AI. So can you just start off and let our audience know a little bit about you? You've had this like crazy evolution of journey in your career and all the things. So will you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was in a corporate world position. I thought I would never leave. Like, I had the easiest job. I would like be top in the company, but finish my job by 11 o'clock and like love the people. And I thought, okay, I am never going to leave because this is awesome. Right. But one day I was kind of told, no, you're going to start your own company and, took a leap of faith and did that. So I started my first company, which was called Drive Performance Coaching. And I basically took everything that I learned from corporate, which was a lot of focus on customer experience, voice of the customer, how customers retaining and buying, and started teaching that to online business owners. And what was really awesome about that business is I was teaching them all of these strategies. And so they were having tons of conversations, getting lots of leads, doing all the things and getting good results. But then all of a sudden they were like, Jenna, you have created a massive problem, which is we cannot manage all the things that you have told us to do, right? And so we had taught them how to use a CRM, which is a client relationship management system, which basically allows you to like really track where people are in your customer journey. But the problem was there wasn't any system that was existing on the platforms our clients and our prospects were working on, which was Facebook. And so there was a lot of copying and pasting and people falling through the cracks. And so one day I was driving and I was like, oh my God, we have to build a CRM on social media. And so I called Nathan, who at the time was a client of mine. He had a different software company and he had hired me to be his private coach to teach him how to sell. And I was like, Nathan, you've got to build this thing for me. And he was like, not going to happen. It's not possible. So sorry. Right. So I was, a little defeated, got off the call, right? Kind of went on about my stuff. 2 weeks later, he messaged me and he's like, oh my God, I did it. And I'm like, you did what? Like, what are we talking about? Because it had kind of gone out of my mind. And he's like, I built the system. And that's how Group Track was born. And so Group Track is now our main company. I actually have had so much excitement and success and growth with Group Track that we actually closed down my coaching business. And what's really amazing is I've now partnered with Nathan. So he is the co-founder and developer. I am the co-founder and coach. So I get to do what I love, which is still coach people on the strategies, but now I get to do it using my tool. So it's just so cool. So we've been around for 3 years. And what was like this tiny idea for like, hey, we should manage our group members in Facebook on a CRM has like completely exploded into something we literally could have never dreamed about. So it's been a really cool adventure.
And I have to share with you, I don't know if you know this, but there are so many people that I come across that if I mention you or if I talk about like, oh, Jenna's going to be in the summit, everybody is like, Jenna from Group Track. Like, I don't know how much you know that people actually know who you are and know about Group Track. And they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. Right. And I think back to the day where I think we first met like at eWomen or like a
Yeah.
University of Phoenix event,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Way back before this whole world of AI and all of the things. And I would just love to like get your take on how was it breaking into like that tech space, like actually being like, okay, like I'm going to start like a software company. And of course, now you've added AI, which I know we're super excited to see. But like as someone who's just been in a space, which we know is predominantly male, like how has that journey been for you?
It's been interesting. First of all, like never in a million years would I be like, little Jenna is going to own this crazy tech company. And especially because, to your point, it's so male dominated, right? And like, there is this little imposter syndrome of like, but I'm just this little girl, So, like, to even hear that people know who I am, it's just such a cool thing. And, truly, I am on a mission to create a movement around making sure that people keep the human in
Mhm.
the tech, right? And especially with AI. So, to hear that that's happening just like makes me so happy. But, um, you know, stepping into this, right? I'll give you just an example. I joined a coaching program that was specifically for people who have SaaS companies. And my partner and I went to one of their events and, we go to the Zoom calls and all the things. And I'm looking around and I'm like, yep, there's about two women in this room,
Mhm.
right? Out of all of the people. And so for me, I'm just like not only am I excited about the success that Group Track has brought, but like internally, because I was raised he bear, she bear, right? If a guy can do it, a girl can do it, right? And so to like live that out is such a cool thing. I don't know if you've seen this like thing on Instagram or TikTok, Kelley, that's like these women and it's like a voiceover that's like, a boy can do it. And then I thought, a boy can do it, right? And so I'm always like, it's so good, right? And so it's
Yeah.
really exciting to see these women starting to step into this industry. And I love that you are really facilitating all this. So, for me, I haven't really hit any roadblocks necessarily being a woman. I think it's more have, been an exciting thing to be like, I'm a woman and I'm here. And not only am I competing with many of you men, but I'm outperforming you too. Right. So it's been
Yeah.
like the empowering thing. I really haven't felt any setbacks or pushback or truly anybody being like, oh, you can't play here.
Mhm.
Right. It really
Right.
hasn't been that way.
Well, the cool thing is, and like, I think what is such an inspiration about you and what you've done is you've totally like you said, you took this leap of faith, you jumped into the tech space with just an idea. Like
Yeah.
you don't have a tech background, you don't know about
Nope.
coding, like none of and nothing, right?
Nothing.
You just had this like spark of an idea that was like, this would be a really cool thing. You probably didn't know how it could even happen in the background,
Right. I
right?
still don't know.
You're like, "I don't know how it all works," right? But I think that's what's inspiring because I think a lot of people feel like, well, one, it's as if, AI and tech is a big scary place, and
Yeah.
two, I don't have any background in tech, so, like, who am I to even think that I can, like, play in the sandbox? And you're such, like, an inspirational, model, I think, in terms of, like, I didn't I came from coaching, like, I
Yeah.
came a completely different background, but I just had an idea that you decided to run with, and you've created this amazing tool called Group Track, and now you've layered AI and started to integrate and, leverage AI, with that. So I would love it if you could share for people who maybe don't know about Group Track, maybe they don't know what the AI can do. Would you mind giving us a little sneak peek or behind the scenes how it
Yes,
all works?
absolutely. And, I'm just gonna pull Facebook back up because in the beginning, as I was chatting with you, I could hear Group Track running in the background. So,
Right.
one of the things that you're gonna see as I show you Group Track is that it integrates right on top of Facebook and Instagram right now. And soon LinkedIn is coming, so we're very excited about that. So when you look at just like regular Facebook, right, this is kind of what it looks like. You see, people, you don't know what's going on. You don't know who the people are, where they are in your system, and so forth, right? But what you'll notice about mine is that it looks a little bit different, right? You'll notice when I hover over anybody's name anywhere on social media, what we can do is pull them on over into our system, which is Group Track. Now, what's incredible about this is that this allows you to really focus on where each of your leads and or clients are in your customer journey, right? So you can notice I just added Jenna myself to our system, right? And what I can do is bring her through my pipeline. And so again, this is going to tell me exactly where I am in that journey with each of my leads. So I'm not, on the freeway driving and being like, oh my God, I forgot to message Sam, it's just so crazy, right? Because when you think about it, it can be very overwhelming when you're in the DMs, when you're trying to have conversations, you're trying to close sales and maintain relationships. And if you don't, follow through, it doesn't really look good, right? And
Right.
so one of the favorite things that I always love to tell people, especially when group track is going to help you manage your DMs, and I'm going to show you that, is that, if you're doing it right, right, using social media. And what I mean by that is the purpose of social media is to be social, right? And so, as entrepreneurs, we need to be having conversations and building relationships. But the problem is, we are only one human and we can't remember things and we can't do all the
Mhm.
things, right? And so that's where group track is going to help us scale our personalized outreach, right? And so we've had a number of clients who are like, okay, I am in the DMs, I'm working the thing, I'm doing all this stuff, but I literally like can't manage it. And so what you're going to see here is group track is right here in your DMs as well. And so again, I can work this person through my stages, know exactly where they are, and make sure that I don't lose anything through the cracks. One of the other things you'll see is this really cool filter thing right here. And for example, I can click a button and say, show messages you haven't read. What this does is it sorts into my DMs and is like, hey, Jenna, here's all the messages of people who are literally trying to have a conversation with you and you have not followed up. And
Mhm.
so I have to share this really fun story. We had one of our clients click this button, right? He had made offers through the DMs, which was really great. He then found that he had missed 27 people who had said yes to his offer, but he lost those messages in the like madness and chaos of DM. He never closed those sales. And so I said, Daniel, calculate for me really quickly. What would you have made if you had converted those into sales? Kelley, it was 50,000.
Oh my gosh.
Barf, right? Like so painful. So painful, right? And so the thing is, we need to use technology to help us. Like that's the beauty of AI is that we want to be everywhere. We want to have conversations. We want to do all these things. But just as a human, we are not capable of remembering, following up, doing all the things without actually losing people through the cracks.
Right.
So as I mentioned, right, group track is going to be that thing, whether you're using your personal profile, your Facebook group, it doesn't matter. This thing works everywhere, right? And so again, all I need to do is say, okay, where is this person in my, customer journey? So you might be like, okay, Jenna, where's the AI, right? So
Mhm.
here's the thing. Imagine that you've got all of these people in your Facebook community, right? And we know that you can't just have a Facebook group, throw up a couple posts that say, buy my thing, and think that people are actually going to come help themselves, right? It just doesn't happen. I always love to use the analogy like this, right? If you were inviting someone to your home and you're like, Kelley, welcome. The bar is over there. Go ahead and help yourself and make a drink. Most likely you'd be like, oh, it's okay. I'll just take a water. I'm good, right? Because that's awkward. Okay.
Right, right.
It's the same thing we're doing with our content on social media. Well, I posted it. If they wanted it, they would have helped themselves, right? Versus, think about this. If we are like, Kelley, I know that you are celebrating this amazing summit where you're bringing together all these women in the AI. And I know that you love Chardonnay, right? And I want to celebrate with you. Would you like this glass, right? The difference is the personalization and
Right.
knowing things about you, right? And if I'm like, would you like this glass of wine? You're going to be like, yes, please. Thank you so much, right? That is the same thing about getting into the DMs with the people, right? So again, whether you're using Instagram, Facebook personal profile, Facebook group, it doesn't matter, right? We've got to stop expecting people to help themselves to your bar and instead really get in and have that very customized experience. And so here's what happens. People are like, okay, Jenna, I'm with you. I get it. I think I would like to do that as well. But here's where they get stuck. They're like, but I don't know what to say, right? So
Mhm.
this is where group track is going to help you. It is wild. So one of the cool things about group track is that there is two components of it, right? So you've seen how I'm showing you how it interfaces right on top of the system where your clients are hanging out. But what's incredible is as you add people to the CRM, they go into what we call our web app. And so this is what it looks like, right? You can have your pipeline view and see as you are bringing these contact cards through your system, and so forth, right? So everything is going to be in here. Now, what's really, really cool about this is when you get group track out of the box, right? If you grab one of our subscriptions, what you're going to see is that we actually give you a bunch of message templates pre-made that we would suggest that you send to your people as you're bringing them through the process. So, for example, let's say someone comes into your Facebook group. Well, we would encourage you to welcome them into your community. I want you to really think about your Facebook group as like a brick and mortar store.
Mhm.
Someone walked in the door and you're the associate, you're going to be like, welcome. What are you doing here? How can I support you? And you would literally ask them that question and then walk them over to the section of your store that has that thing, right?
Right.
But again, in our Facebook groups, I could go on a whole tangent. A lot of people are not doing that. They just are
Right.
like, oh, you're here. I'm going to assume you're going to buy.
Mhm.
Anyways, at Group Track, we want you to be incredibly personalized and supportive, right? So we're going to encourage you to send a welcome message to everybody, right? So here's what's really cool. Out of the box, Group Track is going to do a lot of things to be like, hey, thank you for joining our group and so forth, right? And so we give you these messages pre-made. What's also really incredible is that you'll see it varies the text. So what we don't want to do is copy paste DMs because number one, that flags Facebook and puts you in jail. Facebook jail, don't worry. And number two, right, we don't want to be that human that is like, hello, right, like robotic.
Mhm.
So what you'll notice is, right, I can, say things like, welcome, Jenna, or first, right? And it's going to pull in that name. So you're going to see every time I add an option, the variations are going to increase, right?
Okay.
So what's really incredible is that we give you these out of the box. Well, guess what? We just added this little AI thing here. And when I click it, it's like, hey, I think you're trying to create a message that is this. Is this true? And so, of course, you can edit it. If it's not, press OK. And then what's going to happen is Group Track is going to use AI and give you a suggested message to send.
Amazing.
So
Oh
crazy,
my goodness.
right?
Yes.
And so, what you're going to see is Kelley, that one AI message took us up to 26,000 variations. Isn't that crazy, right?
That is crazy. Yeah.
Imagine, like, we're not copying and pasting. It's going to be amazing, right? So that's one of the things where it's like, are you serious? So Group Track is going to be able to help you take what we've given you, which again, on its own is amazing, but it's
Mhm.
going to supercharge the experience so that you all of a sudden are like coming at your people with these incredible messages that are varying. It's going to help you stay out of Facebook jail. It's just crazy. So that's going to be one thing, right? Like, what the heck do we actually say? How do we create our message templates in a way that is going to give us this really great experience? So that is like one of the things. The other thing is that we have this new button over here that says AI. And so this is going to be really incredible too, because, there's going to be a couple ways, just like I showed you, where AI is going to help you create those messages. But here's the thing, right? One of the things that we want to make sure is that our AI is like you, right? Like we don't
Mm.
want it to be obvious like that. We're using this alternate stuff, right?
Right.
And so as you come into Group Track, it's going to ask you all sorts of questions that you can fill out about your business. Because, like I said, our number one mission and like the thing that we want to be known for is yes, we use technology, we use AI, but we do not want to lose the authentic human to human connection. And
Mhm.
so here's how AI can help you even do that better. So, what it's going to do is it's going to ask you a number of questions, right? So that we can give you really great suggestions using AI. So, for example, it's going to help you generate the template, like I just showed you. It's also going to give you your best next message on where they are in your customer journey, right? And so, Group Track, I'm going to show you in just a minute. It's going to like blow your mind on how it does that. And then coming soon, we're going to have it where it can automatically generate different messages as you're replying to those call to action posts, right? The CTA posts.
Right.
So cool. So you're going to see it literally is just like, all right, let's walk you through this. What is your business name? What is your product and service? Look, apparently you can even have spelling errors and it's okay. This is also part of the Jenna experience, right? So it's going to ask you and what is important, right? So again, we're going to say we help you offer automations, but keep that human at the core of everything you do. So again, it's going to ask you what's your brand? What is something that's important to you, right? we are known for teaching things that are not spammy because, for the record, spammy cold DM pitching doesn't work, right?
Right.
We want you
Right.
to have those meaningful conversations. And then it's going to ask you your personality. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, right? I know, Kelley, you know this, but for the viewers, we are blunt. We
Yes.
are straightforward. We are vulnerable. We're going to show you like when we make mistakes and, show you that we are actual humans, right? And so I'm going to tell the AI that that's how I want to come across, right? And so it's going to ask you, who's your ideal client, right? For us, it's people that are using social media to sell their services, whether they're a coach, a course creator, an influencer, an AI specialist, right? Anything like that. And then it's going to ask you about your pipeline. So, as I mentioned, right, one of the most important things about managing your contacts from social media is that you bring them through a pipeline. A
Mhm.
pipeline, I want you to think about as like a conveyor belt. You put them in over here with the goal of dropping them off over here, right? So there's an endpoint. And so with Group Track, we also pre install amazing pipelines that we know actually work, right? So, for example, we give you a pipeline installed that is going to help you work someone through your Facebook group, right? Again, we don't want people to just come into your Facebook group. We want them to come in, engage, for you to uncover their needs, and then bring them into the section of the store that is going to help them move forward, right? And so the pipeline is going to help you know, where are these people? So what you're going to see here is it's like, all right, let's talk about this pipeline you're using. What is the purpose? And so I can say, get new group members to eventually convert into clients who keep buying, right? So I'm telling AI, this is what I want to do as people are put into this pipeline and how we're going to move it. Then what you're going to see is, okay, for every stage, what is it that we want to do, right? So tag them in a post that tells them how to be successful in the community and get results, right? Send
Mhm.
welcome message, welcome them to the group and get info about how they need to be supported, right? So we can go on, we can do all this, fill this out for each of the stages. Um, check back in, make offer, right? All this stuff. Okay. So we're going to fill this all in. Then what Group Track is going to ask you is your personality type,
Oh
right?
my
Because
goodness.
then, right? We don't want to have it be like, okay, Jenna is this way. And then if her messages are a different way, then that's not going to work for the community, right?
Right.
And one of the most important things, like I'm going to say 50,000 times in this call, is keeping the human in it, right?
Mhm.
I want to work my job like a robot, but I do not want to be one. So it's going to ask you, is this your personal identity or is this the team's? The reason we ask you that is because as a Group Track account owner, you can add a number of people to your system. So
Right.
with our top tier, you actually get 5 team members. And what that means is they can use all of the features, all of the pipelines, all of the things on your behalf, and it will go out through their personal messengers. So in this instance, it's me, right? So we're going to ask, do you know your Myers Briggs? Which I actually don't. But if you did, I mean, that's super cool. I don't even know what this one is. I'm sure it's something really awesome, right? Do you know what it is?
I don't know what that is. Like, I
I
know
don't either.
this, Enneagram, right? All those things.
Yeah,
I don't know
probably, right?
Myers-Briggs, but yeah.
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 So it's like, okay, who are you? I'm obviously a realist, right? Sure, I don't know. So again, you can kind of fill in what are those things,
That
and we're
is
asking you,
amazing.
right? Like we're like defining the archetype. So here's the thing, right? If you don't actually know, you could read these and be like, oh,
Mhm.
yeah, that's me, right?
Right.
And so then we finish it. And so again, now that Group Track has all of this information, as you're in the conversations with these people and having these, connections, then what's going to happen is Group Track is going to be able to take that information and help you create messages that actually make sense, right?
Yeah.
Based on how you would talk as a real human, so that you can move people through your process, right? I know I've dropped a lot here, Kelley. What are some questions that are popping up for you?
It's so good because, again, like I remember the first like iteration of this. And while it was like magical from the very beginning, you talk about the same pain points of like, okay, now all these people are like in my CRM. What do I message them? And I love these templates, but maybe the templates don't exactly fit for like how I would sound or what I want to do, right? And things like that. And then then you get bogged down. Then it's a matter
Yeah.
of creating your own templates, but then it's like, is that worth, where do I spend my time? So the fact
Yeah.
that like hello, the fact that you've put AI on top of this like, is a complete game changer, right?
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that it's all in one place. So, like,
Right.
probably use ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT. I know a lot of our viewers probably are in ChatGPT all day long. And these are things that potentially we would be doing in ChatGPT and then moving them over,
Right.
right? To try to either set it up in group chat or if they're not using group chat, just manually messaging them. So the
Yeah.
fact that you've completely streamlined that and figured out how to use AI to send those messages and recognize, which I think a lot of newer users don't recognize the importance of being able to feed it all of that inside information about
Right.
you, your
Yeah.
business avatar. I love that, you brought in like, what is my personality, right? That's just taking it that much further to be able to really generate, like you said, like those human like messages, right? And I really think that that's key. So much of what we talk about here in the Women Who AI Summit and the speakers that, are asked to come on are always in alignment with that belief that AI is not here to replace us. AI
Yes.
is not here to fool anybody. It's really here to like act as, I always say like a powered up intern, right? Someone that's going
Yeah.
to help us grow our business and not do it in a way that's inauthentic. So I feel like you've captured that beautifully. And I just love that you've been able to keep that whole value of being authentic. Which I know again, even before AI, that was part of group chat was like, we want to give you templates, but we don't want all of you to sound the same when you're
Yep.
sending those follow-up messages. And now it's just even more um effective with what you've allowed people to input to the AI inside of group chat, which is
Absolutely.
like
And I feel like, part of my mission that I want to like scream from the rooftops is like, I don't know about you guys, but like I get so many cold pitches in my messenger every day and they're copy paste.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I know you work with him and I know you work with her. And I'm just like, for the love, stop. If you're all going to say, at least like try to like vary it a little bit.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Right. And so
Yeah.
I'm on a mission to really help people be able to do that. But again, we all get stuck. And that's why I think, AI is incredible because it's that nudge. It just gives you enough to be like, oh, here's where I start. Here's where I go. Right. One of
Mhm.
the cool things too, Kelley, that I didn't even mention with group track, right, is, we need to use technology to help us and enhance us, like you said, right? And so
Right.
not only are we tracking them on where they are in our process, right? But we can also set tags. So for example, right, as someone comes into your Facebook group, we ask questions, we can automatically set tags based on how they answered because what we want to eventually do is have as much information about the lead as possible. So when they come into my Facebook group, I know, do they want a free trial? Do they want to learn about our program? I'm going to track what specific lead magnets I have sent to them, right? Because I need to know what they care about and what
Right.
makes interesting in all those things, right? Okay,
Mhm.
Kelley, this is freaking ridiculous. Okay. So you have the tags, right? The other thing that we're going to do here is group track is tracking all of the messages you've sent to the lead through our system, right? So if I've messaged them like, hey, Nate, I know you wanted the money making Facebook group guide, blah, 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 right?
Mhm.
So when I go to create a message, right, through our system, I can do it with AI. And what's going to happen, see where it says next best
Mhm.
message?
Mhm.
It's taking all of the information that I have inputted, my previous messages, the stage they're in my pipeline, the tags that are on their system to get as much of a picture is to make this ridiculously amazing
Oh,
message,
goodness.
which even is like, oh, by the way, the Jenna experience, which is what I told AI I'm all about, which is being
Right,
weird, right?
right,
Is
right.
that crazy?
It's crazy, amazing, and I have to tell you that I know that there are a lot of people that are doing the whole, like, I'm gonna hire assistants or VAs, they're gonna go and follow up, right? Then they're
Yeah.
gonna send a message and things like that, and I have to tell you that I actually worked with a coach who will rename unnamed, although if she's watching, she's gonna laugh. And I was in her, like, highest level $10,000 a year program for 2 years, right? And then I stepped out of her program because I was going through personal health issues, and maybe 6 months ago, I got a Facebook message from her that was like, "Hey, come to my free workshop."
You're
And
like,
I
girl,
was
I
like,
know
"Well
you.
well, that's weird. Like, why would she invite me to her free, like, beginning workshop? And how weird is it that I haven't talked to her in a few months and she hasn't even asked me about my health?"
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so I was like, "Oh, thanks, this is interesting." And there was like it was crickets. Like, she wasn't like, "How are you feeling? How's everything going?" So I sent her a Voxer message and I was like, "Hey, I have a feeling you're using some VAs to reach out and, like, cold invite people to your whatever, but I said, you really should have some kind of system where they know who's actually invested $20,000 with you before they invite
Yeah.
her to me to, like, a 97 workshop for free." Right? And she was
Yep.
like, "Oh my god, like, total snafu," right? And I get it. And I was like, "I get it, like, I just want you to know, like, this is happening." But what you're talking about solves all of that, right?
All of it.
Like, if
All of it.
if they had tags,
Oh, yeah.
like, Kelly's been in this high level program for 2 years, right? Then, even the human could figure out, I don't wanna sell her, "Oh, I'm doing a 97 workshop for free." And, of course, now AI can just generate those messages, and it's pulling from the data that I would have guessed maybe a human
Would have
the
caught.
team might even miss, right? So that is
Yeah.
so good. I'm so excited because I haven't seen the whole backside of everything once you fully implemented the AI. And I just think that you're offering such a big solution to so many problems that people have, starting from like, how do I make sure I follow up with people who comment? How do I make sure that I don't lose $50,000 in Facebook messages because they get lost all the way? And then more
Yeah.
importantly, how do I, ensure that I'm not only keeping them engaged, but keeping the conversation going, but in a way that is so much more manageable than us sitting here and just sitting in our Facebook Messenger all day long, right?
Kelly, there are people, and I'm not joking, like 7, 8-figure users or business owners that are using spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And I am like, "Oh my god, how?
Yeah.
How?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it's been so amazing for us at Group Track because truly, if you are using social media to get clients, you have this problem,
Mhm.
right? And if you don't have a problem where you're losing people or you're struggling with team members messaging random people in error, like that means you're not working correctly. You know what I mean? Notice that I said I was blunt, right? I told the AI I'm blunt. That's because I am, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong right now, right? But the beautiful thing is, right, the AI and the technology just helps us be organized in a way I don't have to think. I don't have to stress. I don't have to actually even work that hard because Group Track gives me my time back, right? But
Mhm.
the most important thing is it enables me to show up and have truly genuine conversations
Yeah.
with more people, right? Because,
Yeah.
like I showed you before, right? We make these amazing messages, right? And then what happens after is after I send these messages, which by the way, Group Track can send in bulk over time, again, replicating a human so that you don't go to Facebook jail quite as much, right? But then again, you've sent the messages. Now you come here and you're like, hey, Group Track, show me the people who actually want to talk to me, right?
Right.
Who have engaged, who have said yes. And then I can spend my time truly like having a real interaction. And
Mm.
then again, let's say I'm talking to this person. I pull them up and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't really know what to say next. This is what they said to me. What do I do? Right. if I start panicking and I need help, I can do that, right, using our AI. And so that's just a total game changer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's been incredible to see. And I actually am so excited, Kelley, to do this with you today because it's kind of one of those things. So remember, I told you I will go to Nate and be like, can you make this? And he's like, no. Well,
Mhm.
that was AI also. And actually, it's literally everything I asked my business partner. He's like, no, not possible. And then, like, the next day he does it. So it's actually really funny. We had been like kind of thinking about the AI. He's like, I don't know how it's going to work, blah, blah, blah. And I have like so many more ideas that I mean, Kelley, like what we have talking about behind the scenes, like it is wild what we're going to be able to do. But it was so funny. So he's like, yeah, 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 right. So I woke up one morning and I opened my phone and there's a message from Nate. And he's like, so I'm thinking I'm going to release AI for my birthday. And I was like, okay, awesome. Thinking his birthday is in 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, cool. When's your birthday? He's like, today. Great, right? And this
Yeah.
is like truly the group track way. Like, can you build
Yeah.
this? No. Surprise, I did it and we're releasing it. And that's
Yeah.
why our customers love us because, hashtag beta always, right? We're like, try this, but we're always cutting edge, right? And so what's really exciting, Kelley, is like we did one little training in our group on this, and that's it. And people lost their mind, but like you're the first one that's gonna like really get this out into the public because we just haven't really talked about it publicly.
Yeah.
So I'm just so excited for people to be like, what on earth, right?
I
And
love it.
really start getting into the AI space.
Yeah, I love it. And for all of you that have registered for the Women Who AI Summit, Jenna has graciously gifted everybody a free trial to what you just saw. So I know you will be getting the links to that in your emails and along with this post and things like that. And Jenna, as we wrap up, I would just love for you to share with everybody watching, for people who maybe for all the women that maybe like have an idea and they think there's no way or I don't have the background or who am I? What advice could you give them?
Uh, just do it. I'm telling you. It's so funny. Me being in corporate, like the reason I left is because God knocked on my head and was like, hey, by the way, Jenna, like you're made for more. I need you to go do this. And I was like, no, sir, wrong girl. I'm good. Right. Like I'm good where I am. But he was relentless with me. And it was so funny because, I decided to walk away from my career of 10 years and I told my husband, like, hey, I'm quitting. By the way, I'm hiring a business coach. She's $30,000. What do you think? And he was like, well, if anyone can do it, it's you. And I was like, crap. Like I was fully expecting him to be like, no, that's irresponsible. Don't do that. Right. But he was like, I got you and I trust you and I know you can do it. Called my mom, said the same thing. And I'm thinking, for sure she's going to be like, no. And she said, Jenna, I've been waiting for this phone call for years.
Oh,
They're like, what the heck? Right.
yeah.
And so I would say, first of all, get in front of people who know you and trust you and believe. And when you have those fears around your idea that might seem crazy and audacious, go say it to a few people and see what they say back to you.
Yeah.
The belief from my husband and my mom was all it took. I was like, well, I can't. No. I mean, I was waiting for them to be like, no, 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 good. You're not good enough. Um, but they told me I was made for this. And I can't agree more. Like once you step into who you were meant to be and, in my opinion, who God put me on this planet to be, it is just incredible to see what you can accomplish. And, I used to think my last business, the first one that I stepped into was like, oh my God, this is who I was meant to be. And now looking back, now that I have group track, I'm like, wait, that was a stepping stone,
Yeah.
right? And now I'm
Yeah.
here and I'm like, what if this is a stepping stone, right? And so
Mhm.
I just think like, girls, ladies, like you are incredible. Like just being a woman in that alone makes you incredible, right? And so to like give the world your gift is just such a blessing to those around. And I just want to encourage you to think about it. If you don't do it, you're costing people a lot. Like someone right now is praying, waiting for your solution. And I can tell you, thousands of people were waiting for group track. And like, how freaking cool is that? Right. So,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you don't do that, just think about all the people, right, that could be getting served that aren't.
Yeah. I love that. That's such great advice. Again, so inspirational to have you on. Everybody watching, if you have that idea, go do it. And I agree with you. It's so important to like find your tribe, find your biggest cheerleaders. And I think that's part of why the Women Who AI community is so inspirational, right? It's just like we're all like-minded. So, use us, leverage us if you need help, if you have that idea. Like Jenna happened to know someone who could do the software, use and leverage the people around you to make those dreams a reality. So, thank you so much, Jenna, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for being on for this session of the Women Who AI Summit. And we will see you in the next interview. Take care.